So how would you like to see a knife that has one of the best detents I have ever experienced, yet remains fairly inexpensive? Stick around because I'm going to show that knife to you right now. Hey, I'm Jay, and if you use and collect pocket knives like I do, or maybe you're still searching for your ever-elusive grail knife, click on subscribe so I can help you find it. So you should be looking at the specs right now. If you're interested, go ahead and pause and read. So this is the Tangram Progression. It's a Dirk Pinkerton design, and if that name sounds familiar to you, well, it should, because it is the same designer that made this, the Kizer Escort. And why don't we go ahead and let's get some of the size comparisons out of the way so we can kind of put this knife into perspective for you. And we'll start out with the Benchmade bug out, and next let's look at it against the Paramilitary 2, and how about this one, the Cold Steel American Lawman, and we got to get a Kershaw in there, don't we? And this is going to be the Skyline. Let's start out with what I like about the Progression, and then we'll get into some of the potential deal breakers that I see. And I want to start this section out with the blade shape, which is initially what really drew me to this knife. Just a really nice looking stonewash drop point, and yes, that is in fact a hollow grind. The action is really good, and that's going to be, well, for two reasons: the ball bearing pivot and the detent, which is good on this knife. I mean, I cannot shake this guy open, and believe me, I have tried. Now, if you notice, there are only two body screws, and all of the body screws, all of the screws on this knife are all the same size as the pivot screw, and yes, T8s. So that is always really good to see. The G10 scales are very grippy, and you can see it's got like these lines that are cut out. It's on both sides, and that also aids in, providing some traction as well. This is a fantastic slicer. I mean, just fantastic. 2.75 millimeters thick, so coupled with the hollow grind makes this thing just go through every possible material like nothing. Excellent slicer. The sharpening choil, they did a really good job on that as well. If you guys can see it there, very nice. I do like the size of this flipper. It's not too big and it's not too small. I think it's just the right size. Now, on the handle, there are no sharp edges anywhere, so they just did a fantastic job of rounding everything off. Very comfortable. I want to go ahead and just draw your attention to the pocket clip, which for the price, which we're going to get to here in just a second. For the price, it's not bad. No, it's not a true deep carry, but you know what? I feel that it's deep enough. This pocket clip is actually, you can move it to one of 4 different positions. Yep. Tip up, tip down, righties, tip up, tip down for lefties. Look at that. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Let me, you know what? I want to show you guys the weight of this. I'm going to grab the scale. We're going to see how much it's going to weigh you down. So before we go ahead and check out the weight, I just want to show you guys that yes, it is skeletonized extensively. It looks like, yeah, it's just on the non-lock side. All right, let's see. Wow, 4 ounces. That's pretty darn good. That's going to be roughly the equivalent of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like 5 AA batteries, or let's see. Just a little bit heavier than the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Now, my last likable characteristic of the Progression is going to be the price. $42. $42 that you can pick up your very own. That's going to be very, very close in price to the Kershaw Skyline. Or how about the Kershaw Link? What's another one that I have similar in price? Oh, from Sanrenmu, the SRM 9098, and one other knife that is fairly close in price is going to be this Bestech Lion in D2 steel. Now, before we get into the potential deal breakers, because unfortunately there are a few, I just want to quickly remind you guys to click on that subscribe button if you're looking for knife reviews that get right to the point. First potential deal breaker that I have noticed is going to be the jimping, because there is a ton. You can see there, so 1, 2, 3, and, yes, 4. So 4 areas of jimping, which I feel is just a little bit too much, especially when you consider the grippiness of these G10 scales. But I do understand that the jimping is kind of Dirk Pinkerton's thing. I mentioned this knife just a little bit ago, the Kizer Escort, which I do have a review for. If you go ahead and click up in the right-hand corner, you can watch my full review on this Escort. But if you look at the Escort here, you can see, yeah, same deal. It's got the same 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, 4 areas of jimping on this knife as well. Now, the second potential deal breaker is going to be the detent. And I know now you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, Jay, you just said the detent is really good. And it is. But the location of it is what I'm having the problem with. So I'm going to demonstrate here with the Kizer Escort. So I like to close my flipper knives by, okay, I'll unlock it. And then I like to let the flipper tab just kind of rest on my thumbnail, okay, and then go ahead and shake it closed. You're not able to do that with the Progression because of where the detent is located. So right here, it still has not passed the detent ball yet. It's right at this point right there. So you see that? Right there, it is just past the detent ball. So, pretty much makes it impossible to let the flipper tab hit your nail. There's just not enough room because of how late the blade is passing the detent ball. The thumb ramp. Now, I am the kind of person that really appreciates, again, I'm going to use the Escort to demonstrate. You can see, look at that. Look at that nice flat line all the way to the pommel, to the tip. Gorgeous. Now, this is minor, but just not a fan of that thumb. I know it makes it very functional, and it does. It does help when actually using the knife as a tool. But I guess just aesthetically speaking, I'm just not crazy about the thumb ramp there. Now, the pocket clip, while it is 4-position locatable, it is a little bit difficult getting it out of the pocket, and that's going to be because of these lines that are milled, these grooves milled into the G10. So listen to this. So you hear that? Dragging my thumb across, and it's just kind of like stuttering across the scale. Same thing happens when you try to take this out of the pocket. It does the same thing. Not so much when, inserting it into the pocket. It's just more when you're taking it out. And now the last potential deal breaker is gonna be that tip. It is a very, very fine tip. I mean, as long as you use the knife as it's intended to be used, you should have no trouble. But for those of you that are looking for a harder use knife, this really is not going to be it. And it's not just because of the tip. I mean, this is on ball bearings. You usually don't want a hard use knife having a ball bearing pivot on it. But something I just wanted to make you aware of is that that tip is fairly delicate. So now, should you buy this or stay away from it? Well, that's not going to be as easy to answer today because yes, $42, that's fantastic. Now, however, that is for the blade steel is a Kudo 440. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't have a ton of experience with this blade steel. So, little bit of a question mark in that regard. So we'll just have to, wait and see how this holds up. And I mean, if you're the type of person, if you have to close all of your knives by letting the flipper, hit your thumbnail and then shaking it closed, then no, then you should not get this because the blade passes that detent ball very, very late. But at $42, you are getting a ball bearing pivot. You're getting a blade that is just a fantastic slicer. I mean, the action is great. And a clip that you can reposition in 4 different locations. And all that for $42. And, oh my gosh, I almost forgot about this. The centering. Look at that. That is dead friggin' on. Well done. So, yeah, I do like this knife. I just, you know what, if you like to close your blade by letting the flipper hit your nail, then no, I would not buy this. Everybody else, absolutely. It's a fantastic, fantastic buy. So I would definitely, I can recommend this in confidence to you. Now, currently, the only place that you can purchase these Tangram knives is on Amazon. So I will include the link. I'll either pin a comment or I'll put it in the description. Also, I have reviewed another Tangram knife. Again, if you click up here in the corner, you can watch my full review on the Tangram Vector.